So although it's been announced for quite a while, we've got some pretty ridiculous bannings that have happened this last few weeks. Although these rules won't apply until the new set is released, it's quite a shock to a lot of Magic the Gathering players of both Standard and Modern that these bans actually happened. Now, there's actually been a big explanation by Wizards as to why these cards are banned, but frankly, I don't really think things really add up when you give in account, basically the history of these cards that are banned and, well, just how they are affecting the game as they are today. First things first, Emrakul the Promised End. Well, I knew this card was going to be pretty darn powerful. It really did kind of get out of hand. Of the three cards that did get banned for Standard, I think this is the one I agree with the most. As well, it's just played really, really frequently, and let's just face it, it's almost like a Mind Slave or a creature. Plus the fact that it's colorless and its cost can be reduced by playing a bunch of mill or just discarding effects really kind of makes it very versatile. To be honest, the only real way to completely get rid of this and its effect entirely is with Summary Dismissal, and, well, frankly, not every deck can really play that card, mainly because it's only one color. The next cards on this list are kind of questionable for being banned. The first one is Smuggler's Copter, which, of course, is everyone's favorite vehicle, which loots and is actually quite powerful. Now, although I'm not a big fan of vehicles, Smuggler's Copter was actually played in a lot of decks. It's fairly aggressive, and it can give you a lot of draw filter early in the game. However, even though a 3-3 for 2 mana is pretty good, I really don't see why this needs to be banned, just because simply you need another creature to power it. Were there really not that many, spells and abilities that could deal with a 3-power creature, or even an artifact on turn 2? Was that really that, terrifying? According to Wizards, the reason this was banned was because so many people played it in their deck, and therefore the format was not very diverse. The answer to keep a card like this in check would have been to print more 3-power flyers, and, that would have probably done it. Another thing is since turning this into a vehicle means it gets an additional card type, creature and artifact, so therefore more things can ultimately target it. While I do know that this card was powerful and did provide a lot of value, and is actually quite ahead of its curve, I don't think this should have been banned. Frankly, because a lot of vehicles just need, a creature to, power them. Speaking of creatures, the final banning for Standard was Reflector Mage. And, let's just put it this way, I don't really get this whatsoever. Don't get me wrong, Reflector Mage is a very sweet card against matchups with opposing creatures, but, frankly, I feel like it didn't deserve to be banned. To be honest, I feel like this card has lost a lot of playability now that Collected Company is out of the field, and also its playability may actually drop, considering that some decks may not even run creatures to begin with. You also can't really have it interact with vehicles unless you have some way to blink it at instant speed, or cast it at instant speed. According to the community and Wizards of the Coast themselves, the reason this was banned was because people didn't want to play against it? I didn't want to play against Nahiri the Harbinger, but you didn't ban that either. I didn't want to play against, Bristling Hydra, but I didn't get that wish either. I don't understand the logic behind this banning whatsoever. Like I say, this is a powerful effect, and with something like Eerie Interlude or something of that nature can be used over and over again within the span of one turn, but I don't think this should be banned. You never had to ban things like Vapor Snag, and that card was just nuts in Standard. Personally, I think this is just silly, and frankly, I have no reason for this to be banned whatsoever. There's several other removal spells, and frankly, to be honest, there probably are more powerful removal spells in Standard than this. Moving on to Modern, we have some pretty ridiculous bannings as well, with everyone's favorite dredging engine, Golgari Grave Troll, being banned for the second time. To be honest, I'm not really complaining about this. As much as I do like the dredge mechanic, I kind of figured that this would happen anyway, simply because it's really powerful. Milling yourself 6 in a deck full of graveyard synergistic cards is just frickin' ridiculous. While Grave Troll may be gone, we still have other great dredging engines like Stinkweed Imp and the kind of forgotten about Golgari Thug, and also Life from the Loam, which are actually quite commonly used in this format. So I don't know if Dredge is completely out of the picture anyway, but still, getting rid of the troll really does put a bit of a hamper on it. Will it be as powerful as before? Definitely no, but don't count it out. Finally, and the most ridiculous banning, in my opinion, that's coming up here, is Gataxian Probe. I mean, geez. We have so many enablers that have been banned for this format. We've got your Ponders, we have Preordain, which is not where near as worthy of being banned as Ponder, and now joining them will be Gataxian Probe. Seriously, I mean, don't get me wrong, this card is really powerful. Getting free information for the cost of life is quite good, and it does get you a card. And on top of that, it also really gets you a lot of other synergistic purposes, depending on the deck that you're playing. It has a big role in the Suicide Zoo deck, or Death's Shadow Zoo decks, and it can trigger prowess for free for all those decks who run things like Monastery Swiftspear and that crowd. But seriously, I don't really think this needed to be banned. Frankly, you have to keep in mind that the reason I don't really think cards like Preordain really should be banned in this format is because they don't win the game on their own. Probe is a little bit different, arguably, just because it can give you so much information, but you have to keep in mind that even though you will get a glimpse of what matchup you're playing against, unless you have another Probe, you won't know what cards your opponent's going to be drawing later down the road. The point is, Probe by itself does not win you the game. The cards that are in the decks that do damage or get you to your win condition are the things that need to be put to rest. Seriously, there are a lot more scary things in this format other than Probe, and I even made a video about it last year, but frankly, I really, really, really do not agree with this whatsoever. There were a lot more terrifying things in the format, and it just seems like another silly addition of getting good value for no mana, whereas, although that is very good, there are things that just win the game that are completely degenerate. Personally, if I were in this seat, I would have chosen Glistener Elf, and although Glistener Elf is only in one deck in Modern, it's a big, big, big problem, because the thing is, no one in the format, or who played Modern, would have to worry about turn 2, turn 3 Infect kills, therefore turning the format upside down. We could also get rid of nasty things like Scape Shift, although it's a little bit slower than something like Infect, but the thing is that everyone has to be prepared for it, and if you don't prepare for it, you're basically screwed. So in that case, if it was banned, you wouldn't have to have another, well, kind of overlooming threat. That would just make the game a lot less fun unless you somehow prepared for it. So that's my opinion on the upcoming banned cards. It's also important to note that Wizards also announced that they're going to be banning more cards more frequently. In short, I believe it's after each Pro Tour. So after this upcoming Pro Tour, we'll have a bit more information as to what will be unbanned, or if they change their mind about one of the cards they banned recently, or they may even add more to this list. So that's my opinion of these cards being banned. Maybe you think differently. If you do think differently, please tell me what you think in the comments section below. Once again, my name is Ryu Spectre. It's good to be back, and I hope to see you all next time.